well, like, I know this dog is white because he is like full core MAGA Republican, just like all the time.
Well, yeah, and he's unruly, doesn't, loud and high pitched, and like, why? We don't know.
He can't stand other dogs existing like around him. He thinks he should get tuna every day mixed into his food, but like children on WIC shouldn't have birthday cakes.
Right. And meanwhile, Fran is over here. We don't kiss on the face. We get close. We smell. We are very close. We are tight-knit emotionally. But we don't cross each other's boundaries. We have a set schedule and time. This is why it works here. Typically, she's fine, because we respect each other's, times of working and things. Yes. And she checks on me. If I'm doing too much on TikTok, she will not let me record. And it's been a trending thing in my videos recently where I've decided, like, I have to take a break, but it's like Fran won't let me do it anymore. Like I get, especially if it's after hours, it's like something's off here. She's yelling into this object at our time, and she sounds like a human baby. But
I think that has something to do with the yelling too. He always starts going crazy when I'm on my lives, and I'm like getting passionate.
Sense it. Yeah, they sense it. And sometimes it's good. And like on Patreon, I will get active, but like in a way that makes sense. And it's not, I guess it's not the same because she doesn't start yelling at me. But on TikTok, where it's these strangers and, realizing and coming to terms again with another, I have to wean off of TikTok because it's not good for me. It's a toxic relationship. I've done this like 4 times, but it takes a lot of time to leave a toxic dynamic, and I am used to being judged, and TikTok is where that happens for me. And otherwise, it just would feel too good, feel too much like right, as some of us say. So. But that's my Black woman here in my house, in my kitchen, which Black dogs are usually not allowed in the kitchen, but I'm a biracial owner. I got my fan.
That's funny. How about on couches? Are they allowed on couches?
They are allowed on couches, not in the bed. My Black dog is allowed on typically, right? And now, of course, not all. Usually Black people don't need a not all because,
right.
But we always give the dogs a middle name, of course, talk to them like humans, of course,
After our conversation last week about Fran, and I was talking with my kid who's 9.5, and I was telling her about this Twitter thread once upon a time that was called "Does My Dog Know He's Black?" Or not called, but it was like, a thread on Black Twitter. And like, if you could just sit there, as a white person and read it, it was so funny. And it was so just like a fun way to learn about Black culture.
And that's the key, right? And it wasn't that fun and interesting, and learning can be fun is also the problem I'm having online, where I realize I have to back away because I started having too much fun. And I said a phrase of America is a pyramid scheme that is set up by Todd, which is a very biracial statement to say. And if you know, if you get it, you get it. Like Black culture, Black woman culture. It's a whole Real Housewives of Atlanta. I'm going to make a Patreon video for people because I want to explain why what I said was so funny and good, right? But you have to know Black and white American English, Bay and Way, I've been calling them. And if you don't, you just got to listen. But the problem is white women and listening. And it seems like anytime that happens on my page and I start having a moment and the white women are like, I don't get it, but I love that you guys are having a fun time. And it's a pyramid scheme set up by Todd. I don't know who Todd is, but I hate him. And it's just funny, right? We can have fun together. It's like watching Double Dutch, like we talked about. But then, of course, someone comes in to be like, it's just,
tell you why it's not
I want
funny.
you to put captions on. No. So this is another thing. They'll say, hey, you should put captions on your video if you want, for accessibility for people. This always seems to happen when I am having a moment. So this happened a couple of years ago. And it's like, one, there are captions on the video. So the initial, what I call Gaslight-Gift-Horse-Goalpost, it starts with a gaslight. And then, but they're saying, because this is so good and it's a gift of a compliment, it's just so good. It's if you think this is important and you want people to know about it, you should put captions on it. And so now you're telling me what to do with a moral tone, white lady on a farm I check. And if you're a white woman on a farm and you're asking me for more labor, I don't care how nice you are about it. And that's really how the conversation started about me and captions in like 2021. It's not about the captions because I have them. They have been there the whole time. But there's a lot of consumer privilege involved in just inserting yourself in that way. And it seems to only happen when they have nothing, right? Like I'm having a biracial moment. They have nothing to, I'm not talking to you, but I am talking about you a little bit. And it's in a way you don't understand. And maybe you think if there were captions on the video, if I could read it better, then I could Google it better and I could figure out what's going on. Because that's another side of white women who are like, I got to figure out what's going on. You know,
I
the
think I
dogs
see this.
aren't black. They're just dogs, but it's funny.
Yeah.
You know, it's like,
Well, I use my Republican thing. I talk about my dog being a Republican, and then I'm like, so calling my dog a Republican is funny, right? It's anthropomorphic political satire. Calling Republicans dogs or maggots is dehumanizing language, and we shouldn't do that, right? And it just like allows me to like lead into this conversation. But I also wanted to say, like, I think that's a very white America thing, this concept that if someone is speaking in a language that you don't speak around you, they're talking about you and it's bad. Like the number of times I've heard this about women who are doing nails, like, oh, they're all talking about you. But then I saw it firsthand in the military with, there's basically a regulation that says English is the language of U.S. Army business and U.S. Army business will be done in English. And so like every toxic white bro officer tries to like stop soldiers, like individual soldiers, from talking to each other in Spanish by sort of like weaponizing this regulation. And I spent a huge part of my career being the white officer that walked around and spoke Spanish with the soldiers and was like, no, this is the regulation. When people try to do this to you, like your private conversations are fine. But it was very like, they're very bothered by it and they immediately think like they're talking about me.
And you're coming in, and I call it correctional officer Kathy, to come in and be like, I'm doing you a favor by correcting you right now and helping you out. Even in best of worst circumstances, I didn't ask for it. And maybe I don't want to be that accessible. There's no consideration for the fact that I don't go away. Like the fact that you think and then it also shows the triangulation. And that's what happens every time, is that then white women come in to go, okay, I know that her tone wasn't right, but captions, why wouldn't you? And I'm like, figure it out. Is it just that I'm a bad person? Is it that I said no to a decent, she asked politely, and why wouldn't you? Like, why are no beneficiaries of the doubt are ever me? It's always this person who just asked. They put a just, right? She was just, all you have to do is, all you had to do was nothing. And now here you are being like, I don't know if I agree. And then people had said, oh, I remember this from back when. And that was the first time I disagreed with you. But then I read your blog post. I got so worked up over that at that time, especially because then it was like you had to type in, and I suck at type. And like, I won't make content if you think you can talk to me like this. You'll have nothing, right? But you don't even see that you have way too much access to me right now. And you're saying more, like it's so deep. I remember writing a whole blog because then a popular white woman creator, Elise Myers, made a post saying, whatever, like everyone should be using captions. And I stitched it to say, well, cultural considerations here. Black people exist, and what we talk about is deemed dangerous just for existing, blah, blah, blah. And she was very receptive, super, and like, that was great. That was a great moment, but it was like very dangerous for me. So that's why I wrote about it. And consumer privilege of being able to just ask. And like, that was coercive concern and weaponized and borrowed outrage. I used to call it BO. Now, it's BO. Now that I know about the washing business and lack thereof, there's something there with lack thereof and black thereof. I don't know. But there, lack of washing, that it's like, there's just so much. But even to come in and be like, I disagreed with you then, about the caption. You disagreed with me. What was there to disagree about, right? If I'm saying, even if I'm saying, no, I will not put captions on my videos, that was me responding. I could have just ignored I could have ignored the comments. I'm saying something, right? And you're saying, I disagree with your choice. Now what? Now what? You don't want to
Like,
learn from me
okay.
anymore?
I mean, I just had this conversation with people also because they're like, yeah, you're just mean to people sometimes. Like, your tone is just not correct. And I'm just like, your option here is
That makes me really
follow or
mad.
don't follow, right? It's engage or don't engage. It's not,
Get out
I
of
am
my
not
face.
here for your feedback on how to run my page.
Yes.
You know?
Thank you. We're not
Like,
peers
this is
here.
my job. I'm good at doing it. Like, it's free content for most people, you know. And so what I've actually been saying is like, if you're unable to engage with my free content because of my tone, that's a you problem.
Yeah, that's 1000%. What do you want me to do? I also already did it. Telling me to just whatever on videos, you know, it's just like, why would you risk it? Why do you feel this comfortable and entitled to the space, or to agree or disagree with my, like, to start from that place? And now this person did say, I disagreed with you. I went and watched all the 25 videos. Okay, it's from years ago, but it's 25 videos I have in the playlist called Caption Gate, right? And I have captions on all my videos. This is me speaking about how, and you know what I mean? It's just like that. This is years ago, and it got me so re-triggered again. And it's like, oh, that started the first time because a white woman who follows me made a video saying, hey, I just had this moment. I had asked people to stitch my video with something they learned from me. I was all high up. I was too uppity, probably, I think, for the internet. And a white woman came and stitched something and said, hey, I was at this event, and it was my husband who was Black and his friends, and they were talking about 90s Black TV and what it did. And I felt myself wanting to say something, but I didn't know the shows they were talking about. And I felt myself wanting to. And then I realized I felt a little white woman whisper on my shoulder that kind of shushed me. And I loved it. I was just duetting it, right? I was just there sitting so happy. It's just me. And it just grew into this beautiful moment. And I was able to just witness them have a moment. I didn't need to say anything. It was great. And and people are asking me to put captions on the video, right? I am not saying anything in that video. Nothing. She is. And her video had captions like, this was especially then, and you don't have it. And so the gaslighting part of it is like where I wanted white women to see, like, no. I could have this whole time ignored all of that, but I'm showing you that this is a boundary for me to respect. And that is something white women had a lot of feelings about, because they wouldn't do it. They would have just complied. Why aren't you just complying? Why aren't you just ignoring? Why aren't you, like, I could have just said nothing. And that's how you guys don't know when one of you is dangerous, because you just don't say stuff. Now that shows to me, I know if you're dangerous, if you don't accept me going, don't talk to me like that. I don't like it. And it's never someone who actually needs captions. That's a whole thing. I probably talked about it's gaslighting. It's because, and then I say gift horse goalpost, because the second now they'll say, can you embed the captions? There are captions auto-generated now. They're on, you got them, everyone. And they'll say, well, they're not as reliable as embedded ones, so can you make them and put them on the screen? And I don't like it. Like, I'm not allowed to not like the one, like all of it.
Also, like, the answer is no, you can't. You can't possibly do all these extra steps and still provide the same service that you're providing.
And still want to keep showing up. It's like the commission thing. Once you start, you think you can, you think, it's like the consumer privilege of it. Like, you don't think I have so many other things going on, and the fact that I can push through all that to get here, show up, and then you go, I just need this. And it's never a Black person. And it's never, it's never a Black person who is hard of hearing. If it's not a Black woman, I don't really care. Not that I don't care, but I'm not going to take it in, really. I'm not going to change because a white person.
This consumer privilege, it's been pretty funny with, like, doing fiber stuff, because it's like people see it, they want it. And if you're just like, no, I don't, like, I'm not, you know, like I show off all my stuff that I create. And people are like, oh my God, I would love to buy that. And like, I've been wearing these crochet crop tops and like, I would not love to make it for you. You know, like I would have to charge $300 and I don't even want to devote that much of my time to making something, you know, it's like, I do
you
this
know
for
more things about what that actually entails. And you're like, no, don't even, right? There's so much.
Interesting though, like people's response to like, no, you can't get this.
No, they don't take no well. Isn't that interesting? White women, men of women, you don't like think about the person receiving what you're saying when you're talking. And that's why I said I have the third way of who am I talking to? Because like, who are you talking to? You should small suggestion, put captions on for better accessibility. Bitch. Like, oh, and but the beautiful thing about community is I've done this before. So I have community where I can put it up. Now, not everybody knows what's going on when I put that comment up and go, I think, so it's another thing to say, I think it's a scheme. Todd must know about this. It must be something about the pyramid scheme that Todd set up because I said that. And now they're coming at me with captions again. So it's like an inside joke and an inside joke that people who have been around a long time get to participate in. And I get to say, and they'll go and comment all this stuff. I'm still triggered by it, but it's my own doing and my own responsibility and why I'm going to remove myself because I can't do another year. That's the narcissism always will show up when you're having a good time and go, let me get my hands on that. Make it more accessible to me. You know, why are you feeling good? And it has nothing to do with me. You should feel bad a little bit that you didn't think of the heart of hearing people. And usually, anyway. But it's nice.
It's interesting though, like, you know, we've talked about why they hate us doing what we do for so many reasons, but like, I haven't thought about just kind of like the joy, like you're having a good time. The amount of times I've been asked if I have a real job when I probably on average work 9 hours a day, right? You know, and it's like, no, just because I'm enjoying what I'm doing and like, oh, I'm adding puppets to the sequence, like, and I clearly love what I talk about. And I've built a business from the comfort of my home. And I've never thought about like that aspect of why people get so worked up.
Yes. It's almost like probably like spitting in their face to a degree they feel, you know, because they are still dedicated to the suffering life.
It's right. It ties back to this Puritan work ethic and glory of suffering and white supremacy. Like it's supposed to hurt. But you're not just supposed to be able to make easy. You know, I've learned that first of all, people think content creation is easy, right? It's like, okay, you do it then. But you know, they don't want to see the craft, they don't want to see the skill. And so in their minds, it's easy. And how dare we? Like, how dare we not be suffering more obviously?
We're taking the easy way out, which it never has been. But you have to understand that that's whiteness and white supremacy. They still think black people are lazy. Those guys. Have you seen them do anything? They talk so much. Have you seen them do anything? Run. Jump a curb.
Oh.
Like, what? You know what I'm saying? So you can't even be listening to them. But that's what happens when you don't. Oh, but the captions.
Yeah.
It's so small, but it's like that's where racism shows up in this need to have a win in a moment where you're not getting something out of it. And you're like, I need to get that. And put yourself in a place and giving it like a compliment sandwich. I've heard white women talk about the compliment sandwiches. And it's like, who gives those? People in authority giving constructive criticism to someone they're trying to quote unquote help in their field.
Right.
What field? I was just thinking about Corporation Nation and like the home office and the people in the field. We never left. It's been, I just like at work, like in these corporate jobs, you have people at home office and there's everybody else is in the field, in the house and in the field. they're not even trying. They didn't try to hide it.
They
You know,
didn't even
like,
try to camouflage it
sorry.
that much.
I'm just like, I hate
I
everything.
mean,
And mastering a craft is weird.
This is the day we're recording this, folks, is the day that the Secretary of Defense, who now wants to be called the Secretary of War, just stood up and basically said, we're targeting women, we're targeting Black men, like, we're going back to a straight white male military, and drill sergeants can hit you, and standards, which is the military's version of professionalism, right? Like, every
standards.
time the military says it's about standards, it's not, because we could always pass their standards, right? Like, I can't.
They are the standard. They're not the blueprint. They're the standard. No one wants the standard version of anything.
He said there's going to have to be gender neutral haircuts, and he literally said gender neutral male. He literally said gender neutral.
You gotta stop talking to these people. You guys, they're not okay. No, stop. That's crazy. Because even if you go back and forth with that, you're so far gone. No, well, see how you said male? Like, see how you are not. But the war makes no sense. So, like, let them have fun. I don't know.
This, where it's like trying to push things backward is really so silly, right? Like,
you can't time travel.
Like, and also, like, Black people got freedom and they weren't even allowed to learn to read, right? Like, we controlled as hard as possible, and progress still progressed, right?
Yeah,
and
life happens.
You want to drag stuff back so hard, and he's standing right in front of 800 generals, or however many generals and admirals there are, many of whom have spearheaded these programs, right? Like, all of whom have been part of programs over the last 20 years to help diversify the military so that we could literally keep up with the technological advances of modern warfare. And he's just basically standing there going like, we're going to do ooh-ah, ooh-ah, and some hazing and push-ups. Yeah.
Well, now y'all know what it's like when he said, oh, just shove their heads in the cars to cops. He was like, stop, protect. Like, he only watches TV. You guys, what do yeah, have you heard? He's terrible. I'm not going to bring up the Central Park 5 anymore. The exonerated 5. I don't like that they changed. Well, it doesn't matter. It's not my thing. Yeah, so I don't listen to white men because you like the the Overton window where it's like, oh, reasonable things to discuss in this, like, you're shifting it. They're shifting it. So if you keep listening to them, they're in a cult, right? They're in the cult of America.
He literally told them they're not allowed to laugh. Like,
yeah, no, exactly. They're in a cult. So that's
yeah, I know.
They're just confirming our points mostly. They're like, you know what? Yeah, let's do this. They read corporate cults and are like, oh, an instruction manual. That's what I get from it, and that's why. But that's why we are a problem.
It's also just like the dude, right? Like the toxic white bro that's like, oh, DEI hire, blah, blah. Like, just imagine that guy is the Secretary of Defense, right? Like, that's literally what it is. And it's just like, everybody hates him, but now we're on this timeline.
Yeah.
I just can't.
Black women tried to tell you. A couple days ago, Asada Shakur passed, and she was exiled and I did a reading. I went live on Patreon because now I have access to live on Patreon. It's amazing. The quality of the video is meh, but it's amazing that I have the access. And I read some stuff from her book because I had read her autobiography a couple of years ago, and I remember reading through it so fast. It was good. Like, I didn't tab it up, but I did tab some. I wanted to see. And so I did some reading from it, and it's like, yeah, nothing has changed. Just change the titles. In her speeches, I read her speech to the jury before, she got out of here, and just a poem in there. It's really good autobiography, Asada. But her passing just kind of made me zoom out to go like, yeah, Black women have been the whole time. Do you know how much effort they put into making her? And we never even talk about her, No. But now she passes, and
now they're trying to shut people down from talking about her.
Right. And that's another reason I'm like, you know what? Being on TikTok, it's like everybody's telling me to get off of it. The environment, the everything. I should be allowed to go, and I'm still in that space of like, well, nothing I'm doing is wrong, and I'm still, like I said, I'm half white, right? So I'm still kind of like, guys, what I did, I'm helping. This should be fine. And then my page is like, content, you're violating rights. I used to get so upset when they flagged me for hate speech, and now I'm like desensitized to it. And that's upsetting to me a little bit. I remember when I was so upset the first time I saw hate speech over like my face. I was like, I mean, and I'm entitled to that, but distress tolerance grows as you start to become aware and read the books. And it's like, oh, yeah. It's not that white people haven't had access to the information or this hasn't been true the whole time. It's just that we have been blocked from listening to certain voices that sound like anything that is peace disrupting or something, and like easily emotionally swayed and busy and tired and seeking. And I'm like, oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, I've been listening to this podcast or to this playlist on Spotify called Songs About America, but not patriotic. And one of the songs was by Sinead O'Connor. Is that how you say her name? Sinead. And she's like, you've heard about the Irish potato famine. Well, what they don't tell you is it wasn't a famine.
It wasn't really was one. Yep.
She goes through all of it, and she's like, the Irish are like a child who has been abused, and they can't understand, what is going on. And until she starts talking about like, until there is acknowledgement, like acknowledgement from the British and cultural discussion and reparations and all of this stuff, like, how is this ever going to heal? And when I tell you, I was just listening to this and I was thinking about white women and Black women, where it's like, how could we possibly expect to be trusted or really let into Black women's like lives if there's no like acknowledgement and reparations and repairing of like the damage that was done,
and you
that's
can't
what
repair something you don't agree needs repairing.
Yeah.
You can't be like, but come together with us. What? You just sent your husband at me last week. Like, that's 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 why I tell white women to make it about race, and I mean make it about your race. And I think every time we hear race, white women just assume they are raceless, and it's no, because it's not. Racism isn't how you, white person, treat any random Black person. It's how you were racialized and individualized to think that you get to decide when race matters and when it doesn't. Yeah. And how people treat you. You're saying, no, people treat me this way because I'm nice to them. And if you were just nice to them, they would be nice to you. Oh, shut up. Like that, you can't just say that. You're white. And so just saying you're white gets you so much further in safety terms, in terms of being able to have an actual conversation with a Black woman, because how we treat you has a lot to do with our race and your race. And there's zero consideration for that when you talk about, I don't see color, blah, blah, blah. Oh, that's interesting. I do. And I'm talking to you like this and not how I would actually talk. But now I'm also going to not talk to you at all because of this. But none of that matters to you because you're not racist.
Right.
I showed her. Oh, you showed her never to talk to you again. And I'm just saying it comes from a place of understanding, though, because I am a white mom biracial. We are not always looked upon fondly either because of how we treat the concept of the Black community. I'm not really sure what's going on with white mom biracials out in the world. I had a different one. Like I said, I didn't know so many white women were so racist. I'll just say racist, but like indoctrinated to believe in their whiteness. My mom didn't believe in the stories of whiteness. She knew they existed.
And especially like from the cult side, I mean, conservative white women have adopted so many Black and non-white children. It's just, it's horrifying, right? Amy Coney Barrett has 2 Black kids, I believe, adopted.
I just saw a video of this white woman with her daughter, and her I want to call them their mitts are all over her face, and the comments. It's so interesting. I don't know if I posted it yet, but I made a video about it because I'm like, the community though sees her, and as much as we talked about like, oh, no one will believe you, no one blah 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 blah. Those comments say that girl looks uncomfortable, and then she makes another video tickling her and being like, see, no, tell them you don't like it. They're saying that you're uncomfortable. Tell them. And she's tickling her. So the girl's just laughing. And she kind of says, no, people are in the comments like, this actually confirms it. We're more creeped out. We need Josie's like blink twice. I don't know. It just, and I saved one of the videos, and even seeing the picture on my phone, it's like, I have chills. Her hands on her body. This girl, maybe she's like 9 or something. And she's dark, beautiful little girl, but this white lady with her hands, and I guess now maybe I'm a little traumatized by the whole washing and their hands and the hand shaking and the hand holding and the hand, everything with the hands, white people in hand stuff and handcuffs and anything. She's not acknowledging the race. Well, the first video was like, Josie, we just had an interesting moment. Tell them what you told your friends. She said, well, before our outing, I told them my mom was white. Well, why did you do that? So they wouldn't be surprised. And she is. And the girl is trying to like get her hands. I don't know. It's really tough to be a Black woman in this scenario because it's like, oh no, I have no attachment. There's nothing I can do. But I can, I don't know, talk to other white women about it and be like, that's a problem. We see it. When you see people comment stuff that when it's uncomfortable, it's uncomfortable. It's not that hidden, right? It's in the house, in the field. It's right here in front of us, but you put on these pastel shades that something happens and you don't see. Rose-colored glasses, so all the red flags are just flags.
And it also goes back to like, believe Black women, right? Which we've talked about before. Like, if Black women are telling you the Black child seems uncomfortable, I mean, first of all, if you're a white woman raising a Black child, you need to have so many Black women in your life, right? Like, so many. Yeah.
And they don't. It's so upsetting. I didn't know how many white people were adopting Black kids, and like, that's so, And at first it's like, but the trauma and the gratitude that is supposed to be felt and stuff. And my hot take about white women and having a Black biracial daughter, you don't need to know everything Black before you have a Black daughter. But I think acknowledging her Blackness and your not Blackness would be first and foremost. That's what I feel like my mom did. She didn't teach me Blackness, but she taught me that Blackness was seen as secondary when it is not. And that when something is nude colored and it looks like that and not like me, that's because stupid white people. She didn't say that, but like, essentially, this is dumb, it's wrong, right? It's not, if you just do this, if you just act like this, you'll get where you need to go. It wasn't respectability politics because she's white. So I got some entitlement to like act like I want and all that stuff. Whatever, but you don't need to be a Black person. Like, that you're not gonna be one. You be around them. My mom never liked being the only white person in the room for her own comfortability and therefore mine. And also mine. I don't know when that started, but she was always a little different. But it's just like, be okay with being different. I don't know. But I don't know how you fix that. I come from, you can change your mind, and cults exist everywhere. Even thinking about Judaism, my mom would always tell me stories about, like a specific story where she took her jacket off at yeshiva and everyone was, she's very proud of that story. Like, that's a story I heard a lot growing up. And like, I'm just like, yeah, Mom, you're so cool. She had a tattoo and like, that's a big, but to me, that was my whiteness, was her being like, I do what I want. I don't do the choreographed dances. I just have fun over here. She's got her own little thing going on. But like we talked about with the hair and everything, if white women could just understand where they are. When I said proper placement in the Man versus Bear video, they lost it. But it's like, no, proper placement is as a white woman. Who's gonna be it if it's not you? I can't. We tried. I tried. I tried even just talking to you guys. You're like, I don't believe it. I don't believe anything you say. Oh, speaking of, I've gotten recent comments
It does
about
happen.
you. Very differing comments. One said, they said, actually, if you check Daniella's list of 10 things, you know, and that describe a cult, it's this, and just listed your 10 things about my page, I guess, right? So they're using your criteria to say
That your page is a
cult
cult
leader. But then another one is like, I can't stand the knitting cult lady. So you didn't even listen to my video, because my video, that's not it. It's, I'm so glad we work together and that she just listens, and I don't have to, every time I talk about washing, you don't feel the need to defend yourself and tell me that you do wash your legs. And like, how nice it is not to have to do the, because I'm used to this type of conversation where my mom was a white woman, you're a white woman, I'm just talking. And I've said this. And it's just like, these people don't listen. They don't, it's a man, I think, in the first one. And like, he's using your criteria. So does he respect you? Like,
No, because they try to
talk
use my criteria on me too.
Right? And it's, oh, really?
Yeah, but they also, so first of all, people don't
I don't know why that surprised me, actually.
People don't understand the difference between putting out content and like creating a group, right? Where I even think there's differences between the people who are like creators, influencers, because they're trying to like craft a following, versus like, I'm just trying to put information out there and educate people. And like, so people will say, oh, I don't allow questions. And I'm like, first of all, I love it when people out themselves with the question thing. They tell me I get mad, because I get mad about two things. Like, if you're being racist or sexist or some other kind of ist, or if you're splaining me my job and calling me wrong when you don't have any expertise in this field. And so, and
but
then
also,
they're like,
are you not allowed to be mad?
This kind of cult leader. And I'm like, the way I treat people on my team or like people in real life, that's a very different thing than how I'm acting on a page on the internet with people who just ask questions. But no, I'm not allowed to be mad. I'm not allowed to ever have a tone. Like, we've been
right, because we talked about this last week. I remember sitting with that. I don't
think you can be a woman on the internet without being in this tone policing conversation. And I'm just, you know, I see all of the misogyny and whiteness, and
yeah, they get to be mad,
and I just don't want to play this game, you know?
Yeah, because white men are really mad all the time. Not sure what about. Right. I saw them chanting, "White men fight." Sorry, they were chanting that, and then black people were like, "Who?"
There's like, maybe you'll have more on this, but there's this like thing where they're trying to like force this to be like this community or something, where I'm like, look, engage with the content or not. If you ask me a question, I can choose to answer it in any way possible. Like, I'm regularly telling people they have to not phrase their questions the exact same ways as the trolls, you know, like I can't.
But that's the captions thing too. It's like coming in to tell you, okay, but because my thing about the mad is that it comes from anti-blackness, obviously. It's you're just mad. If someone is asking a question and you are mad about it, why?
Yeah.
Let's talk about the fact that you came here to listen to her. And if you think she is a credible source of information, this is also a source of information. This question made her mad. Let's think about that. Why would that be? There is very little consideration for you. That's the consumer privilege part of like, you're just looking at exactly what you see and you're just like, okay, and she just gets mad. Okay, and she still answered the question. So like with me in the captions, it was like, I got mad at people, whatever that means. People don't really say that to me as much. I think it's a given. They know not to, if they're white women in MySpace, they know not to say angry and stuff. They still do sometimes. They call me rude. But I'm answering your question.
And I also think like sometimes the question itself is offensive.
Yes.
And obviously I know there's a white woman corollary of this, but like, where you see like me get my service questioned all of the time, or get not taken seriously when I talk about the military, even though I was an Army captain. And yet they would never even ask those questions to a man. You know, to the point that when somebody asked me on a live, how many years did you serve for? Like, I don't know what tone you're asking me in that end, so I'm not going to answer any of it. Go Google me.
Why?
You know?
Why would it matter, right? If I'm bringing up, so I brought up,
you wouldn't be asking a man.
It wouldn't, right? And if I bring up something, they'll say, okay, but wait, how long have you? If you're asking me a question that I don't feel doesn't benefit me, then you didn't think about me. And I can respond in whatever way comes naturally. And I think that's beneficial information. And if it's that, oh, she probably gets asked this a lot and this, blah, 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 that's information for you. That's not, she shouldn't have responded this way because everyone deserves benefit of the doubt except for you. No, you're allowed to have emotions. I don't think that being angry or upset takes away from the value of the words being given at the same time. It's like crying. Like I actually wrote a blog about crying and like tears are just sweaty eyeballs. Like just because someone is crying while delivering, and this is a narcissism thing I had to deal with a lot and still struggle with, and Black women especially, like no one cares when we cry. It's, if anything, it's just an excuse to not listen. So like just because you're crying through the words doesn't mean you don't mean the words you're saying. It shouldn't be a reason to stop the conversation, but it seems like in Whiteness, it stops it, right? Oh no, we don't have to talk about this. We don't have to talk about this. What do you mean? I was talking and now you're making me stop talking and I'm still crying. At least let me just get through it and get to the point if it makes me feel emotional, you know, but there's this, who are you protecting? Whose comfort are you protecting? And if I get mad at your question, there is a choice of you to say, oh my God, I really overstepped. I'm going to sit with this and replay this for a while. Thank you. And now we're both much better off. But no one even
Once in a
thinks
while that happens.
Once a year, maybe. Okay. I get, and that's overshooting it. A person going and quickly turning around and saying, oh, heard you. Even in this one, the person who asked me, okay, I hear the demanding tone, but what's, you know, I don't understand. I'm scratching my head. I'm confused about why the pushback on captions. And people told her about herself and I told her a little something, something, but, and she just accepted it. And it's like, I don't like a lot of things about this statement, right? If someone is saying something to me in a demanding tone, that white woman on a farm is saying something to me in a demanding tone, does it matter what it is? To me, it doesn't. Because it didn't matter. It wasn't about the captions because I had captions anyway. Because I've always had them. I've even made it accessible, even though that puts me at jeopardy and actually makes it less accessible for Black people to find, because that's what the algorithm works against me. Like white people just do not ever think about what it is like to be being Black online. Being Black online, talking about white people stuff. I need to. That's where Black American English, BAE, it obscures things with purpose. It tries to keep people out that would be dangerous. But it expands language. It doesn't limit language like Whiteness does. I feel like Whiteness, just all the acronyms are to hide what you're talking about from everyone. Whereas if you're in the culture, you'll understand what's being said, whether or not you speak regionally this language. There are words Black people will say, I don't know, but I get it. The word be has its special place in my heart. Obviously, I think we should all just be and not do, right? Just be. And y'all should just be quiet and stop just telling people to just comply, just do it, just submit, just whatever. Forgive. I don't know what forgiveness is. Sorry. I don't think I get it. And if you don't get it, you can just sit with things. So, you know, the people who say they're confused over my reactions, I don't know why you're telling me that. You know, and I feel like the same with your madness. When you're mad, why do you have to explain?
Well, so it's interesting when you said, because people aren't thinking about you, right? Because I almost never get disrespectful, upsetting questions from people who have actually read my book, right? Because then they are absolutely thinking of me as a human once you've been through this very traumatic story of my life.
Yeah.
And which honestly I had to do, right? Like I had to take you through this horrible, horrible childhood in order to get you to care about the way women are treated in the military. Because now you really are upset when I go into the military and get mistreated. You're like very upset by that. But that's also why I know, like when people yell at me and then they're like, well, I've read your book. I'm like, No, you haven't.
No, you haven't.
Right.
Right.
First
Right.
of all,
Right.
my book doesn't mean I owe you a nice response. But, you know, much more common, I get people saying anytime I bring up tone, they'll be like, yeah, I've read your book. Your tone makes complete sense. You know, like
And it shouldn't matter, right? If the message mattered,
of the person, right? And this concept that they're just like, oh, your tone is mean. I'm like, okay, there's a whole bunch of things that could have been going on. And by the way, I regularly apologize to people about my tone. I snip at people in comments and they'll come back. Oftentimes they are followers and they'll be like, you know, kind about it, and I'll just be like, yeah, I'm
welcome to
sorry.
community.
It was early. I was being right. Like, I am a human too. Like, I am not just the same show person every single day.
Yeah.
But I think there's a lack of that concept, and I'm sure you get it like 100 times worse.
Yeah, because online you are identified as something, right? Like, but in the book and when you share your story of humanness, people are identifying with you as a person. And I think the dehumanization to identify someone as, right? You're identified as an expert on. So now it's up to them to challenge you, and you need challenges. I've had people come into my lives where I'm like, no, I think I'm done with the randoms phase of my journey. And someone's like, you need randoms to blah, blah, blah. I was like, and immediately I'm mad, right? Because one, don't tell me what I need unless it's rest at this point, because people who love me tell me I need rest. And who are you to tell me I need challenges? Oh, because as a Black woman doing this regularly, I haven't had enough challenges.
No re-challenging your thinking.
Right.
Also, like, this goes into two things. First of all, the assumption that I don't off camera surround myself with people who rigorously challenge my thinking, because of course I know that we both do. You know, people ask me if I'm immune to cults. I'm like, on my own? No. Am I surrounded by enough people that'll be like, hey, yes, you know? So, like,
and that's why community is the cure.
Ignorance of that, like, just because you're not seeing it, but it still comes off like telling a professor that they still have to teach intro to their topic along with graduate studies, you know?
Yeah,
just
at the same time.
Don't go.
And like all the emails of the incoming freshmen who are just so excited for class, as well as be out here in the world giving speeches on a stage. Like, that's really but it's up to me,
not to mention,
you know?
like, that's the reason we make content. Like, you can go, you know, I love it when people are like, I could listen to you all day. I'm like, you literally can. I have an audiobook. I have 2 podcasts that have been going longer than a year, and I have so many hours of content on here, you know, like.
But that shows you the learned helplessness that we're dealing with. And for me, it's like, I have to often remind white women, especially, like, do you think you deserve to get the Good Girl Award and Gold Star if you can't even click on an app? Like, you want to go out in the street for some reason, but you won't do Patreon. You don't even know what it is. You don't even know what it is. And you're telling me this, right? So there's so many layers to that discomfort that you are putting off when you don't understand the threshold that Black women exist within, right? And Black women were always the first to invest in me in whatever way. And I hate that. And I always say I hate it, but in a loving hate it, but if they didn't, I don't know that I could survive, because white women, I talk about distress tolerance and like those period simulators that we talk about of, like, you know, men who are just so shocked, right? And that and political violence. Right? Our distress tolerance for political violence is so far beyond what you guys are imagining, because currently right now things are happening, you know, every day, have been the whole time, and now you are freaking out and you're actually making things fun. But y'all are the only group of people who will go into my into my TikTok and say, I wish I could. I'm just so poor. I'm so broke. If I was working, I would. When I get a job, do you know? You have no idea what Black women make happen. And like the fact that you could even say it, Black women can't say that. In the Black community, saying, oh, you don't got the money is an insult. That's a whole other thing with capitalism. And, it's like Black church and capitalism. Those are two areas in Blackness that it's like, we got those. Those are rough. But we talk about money. But because every dollar counts and it's shared and it's communal money in a way when someone has it. There's the Black tax thing we talked about.
Well, and because it's
white
safety, women, right? I think it's safer when you are.
I just feel like
talking about any topic.
If you can say you're broke, I don't know. I don't know if you're frozen. Okay, there. No, you're there. You were frozen on my screen, but you're not frozen. I just but that distress tolerance, I can see it. But if I say something, it feels like I'm like, I don't know. But I see it in my numbers, always have. And my content is so inclusive that Black women even find it. But that's to my benefit for so many reasons. I need Black women to back up it. But when I talk to them, white women are like, yay! And then we'll pay nothing and demand everything. Oh, one thing I did say that Black people seem to like and white people seem to like is that in Whiteness, they're always demanding, but never direct. Right? Like you're always indirect in everything and always demanding somehow at the same time. And I don't understand how that works, right? But it's ruder for me to directly decline you and say, no, I don't like this, actually, than it is for you to go, hey, I liked this, but next time, could you just anything? With all the videos I have, all the stuff you could do, and this is the first thing you do. And then I'm supposed to say, well, I can't respond with anger, which I don't. I try not to. But like, what? I just don't like the idea that if I did, that's not. So like, that was really what I pushed back against is I'm allowed to tell you no, guys. Did you know that? And white women said, oh, but can I ask nicely? Is there a nice way to ask?
What are you talking about?
Are you muted?
Unfortunately, this is the end of the episode due to technical difficulties. Thanks for listening to Hey White Women. We'll see you next week for more real-time deconstruction.